recording. So just a quick reminder about that in the quiz or in any exam, as I mentioned, that it should be again, if that is constructed, that if that is quite clear that it has been taken from some of the resources, be it chat GPT, be it any other resource, it would have a serious consequence on that one. So again, please keep in mind, or maybe copy it from someone else's. So that all will make a plagiarism case for that matter. Anyhow, so welcome all of you to this new week of our study. And today, so we did not have a live lecture yesterday, and so today we are going to have a complete lecture for this week, and this will be shared as a recording for the with those uh, from the previous section. All right, so let me share my screen and let me open up Visual Studio Code. Now I hope you can see my screen now. Okay, Tina, thank you. Okay, so it's the React code that you see. Now let's move to. Are you saying something? Sorry? What are you saying? Okay. Looks like it was by mistake. Anyhow, so all right, so this was our last week, if you guys remember. Again, this is section 4. So we did that book project, and we had completed that book project, and then we just converted that into our that form. And again, as I was expecting, there were very few people who have sent their solution of the remove book, and still I have not received them. But anyhow, so another one, the last thing that we discussed during the last week was that this PHP program and this index.php that we actually ran, and we have we actually installed that or published that on the htdocs, if you guys remember. So I would like to just give some important things about that one. Let me show you. So we stored that on our C drive. We have got XAMPP folder, because when we installed XAMPP, we had a XAMPP folder. In htdocs, we created this section for website that had that index file that we ran over there. And that file was, of course, running over there. Now, so for today, first of all, I would like to just remind you that for the quiz as well, I'm expecting that you have covered all those PHP basics that were discussed in the lecture last time. And why I'm saying that, because of course, I've not directly discussed them, but what I would expect is that you will have, look at that. You will have actually, let me just open that up. Okay, I'll have to approve the request. 18. All right, so look at that. It's actually last week's lecture. I'll go to section 4. And if I show you, this was the one PHP that we were discussing. So in PHP, and you remember I told you that practice exercises, I was expecting some practice exercise from you guys. Was there anyone who solved these practice exercises from the last week? Because towards the end, I asked you guys to just, do those practice exercises. If you have not done them, I would expect you to just, do that, because that would be important. And again, I'm making a folder over here. It's a no grade type of assignment. I'm just creating this as an assignment. It's a no grade assignment, by the way, but I would be expecting that you guys have done those practice questions over here. And I would just give that practice questions. So if you have done, you can please submit that. It would be ungraded. And I'm just giving till tomorrow the time. Submit the practice questions from week 10 folder, right? So you will be submitting those over there. Anyhow, so again, what I'm expecting from you guys is that you have gone through the complete lecture of this lesson 8 PHP, because I stopped because most of the concepts are those we have discussed already in one programming or the other programming. We have talked about the JavaScript. We have discussed what are comments and what are here. It's the difference is that they define uh, a constant by using this define keyword, not by using that one. So these are all. So I'm expecting that you guys have had a look at all those and operator assignment and this remainder operator modulus concatenation assignment. These are all you have already done that one. So again, in today's quiz, it is expected that you guys have gone through all these things. So for this week, what we are doing again, this will be for the quiz. So quiz will be till this point of time. But today, what we are starting our next part, and this is week 11. And if I go introduction to databases, this is very interesting. And here I will ask a question. What, have you guys studied any database before this course? Like again, be it in a normal database course, introduction to database or something. Have you guys studied any database before this one? Okay, Shrinu, what was that? What was the course, or what was the the language that you studied, the database that you discussed? Okay, MySQL. You have already discussed MySQL. That's wonderful. So MySQL, you studied MySQL directly as a course, because here also it is MySQL which will be using over here. Okay, so Vinisha, was that as a course like MySQL, or in introduction to database you guys have learned that one? Was it introduction to database course, or it was a MySQL course, by the way? Just want to know, because just curious to know that, because if you have done that, of course it will be very easy for you, and you guys have already done that one. So I did not hear from you. I'm asking that the course name was Introduction to Database, or it was MySQL or something. Oh, I'm not talking about your undergrads. I'm talking about the courses here, in at Conestoga, the courses that you have studied. Tino says Introduction to DB. So in Introduction to DB, Tino, you guys studied MySQL, right? Okay, I get responses very late. I don't know why. Why is that? Oh, no, 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 no. Again, you guys are taking me wrong. Again, guys, you guys are taking me wrong. When I ask that, have you studied a database course, I'm actually asking during this program, have you studied that? My question is during this program, the program that you are doing right now. Forget about what you have done before. Of course, most of you would have done that. Okay, not in this course. Okay, okay. I need everyone's feedback, because it's something that I want everyone to be involved in. Okay, so now let's put the question the other way. Okay, okay. Now my question is, it's a bit different now, Sunil. The question is, how many of you have already, as someone of you have mentioned, how many of you have already got some experience with MySQL? So you may write a chat yes in the chat window if you already, of course, you have studied somewhere else, not in the program, not in this program. Okay, you have 3 years. Okay, wonderful. I see some no, some yeses. Good. Vinisha and Sudhir have done that. Can I have everyone come up? Prachi, it's very old story now. I know that you have not studied in this course, but I'm just asking that, do you have a previous experience? Look, okay, Daniel says a bit, and Sunil says SQL Server. Of course, you have if you have. Okay, so Prachi, you are very late. I think you are traveling by a very slow train. I asked that question before. Now I'm asking, of course, in this course, it's not. Okay, no problem, Prachi. Okay, so yeah, so let's start talking about this, because I see that as a course it is not being discussed, so I'll be taking it as a typically little discussion or introduction, because it should be discussed. So PHP, for PHP actually we work with the MySQL. And as some of you know already, MySQL, but again, we'll just talk about some of them. So what is a database? A database, a set of organized data organized into one or more computer files. Using files for the product inventory is a type of database. So we have, they say that it's basically a lot of files being combined together to make database, where we can combine multiple files. So database is an integral part of applications these days. And you know why? Because now every application has to have some mechanism to have persistent data. Think about that you are about to book an airline ticket. So if you, for example, let's talk about that. You want to go and you want to check that how many flights are available. So the airline should have some database mechanism to store those flights that it will ultimately show you. And then you can make your reservation. When you make your reservation, you are being registered or you are being taken into that database that you have purchased so and so tickets and you have made so and so reservations and things like that. You know what I mean? So it's actually a database is required. So every application nowadays looks for databases. Every application, every dynamic website, so to speak, dynamic website. If you remember last class, we discussed about that. A dynamic website has to have a database connection, needs to have a database connection. Why? Because a dynamic website shows different contents to different users. And unless it has some mechanism to store data, it won't be able to show different users for different things. You know what I mean? So now let's come back. Databases, the advantages. So databases are in form of rows and columns. So instead of normal files, the traditional file storage, we get faster access to the values because there are keys and all those access things that you might know that databases are faster to access. Better concurrent access. Again, at times you need to have your applications. In Introduction to DB, you would have studied the ACID transactions. Have you studied ACID transactions, ACID? In the Introduction to Database, you must have learned that. Again, I'm talking about the course that you have studied in this program. ACID properties. Have you discussed ACID properties? It's very bad that I get answers very late. I don't know why you guys just keep on sleeping. I'm asking about this ACID transactions. Have you guys read about ACID in the course again? Okay, you have not heard about that one, right? I'll talk about that maybe. So Introduction to Database, it should have. So so Sunil, in Introduction to Database, what was what was the database that you studied over there in Intro to Database? Was that Microsoft Access or was that SQL Server? Or what was that? Because I don't know your contents of the course. Oh, Microsoft Access you have studied. Okay, wonderful. All right. All right. Okay, so I'll talk about that one. Better concurrent processes. So this ACID transactions, ACID that I've written down, atomicity and concurrency, and that there are certain features of databases that a database should follow. The transaction or database should be ACID based. I'll talk about that ACID. So better concurrent access. You want to have a access of thing from multiple places. So database will provide us easier way to access the same thing concurrently from the different places. Easier changes to data and scripts, increased security. Database are relatively considered more secure than the normal file system. Then comes relational databases. So the Access, Microsoft Access that you have learned, that also is a relational database, by the way. It's a relational database. What are relational databases? A relational database stores data in tables, usually more than one, with defined relationships between the tables. So what we do, we have tables, of course, most of you know, and every table has a primary key that recognizes that record, that particular record, and it goes this way. So I'll say this is one field. The collection of fields is called one record, and the collection of multiple records is called one table or a file or whatever. It's basically goes this way. So we have and we have relationship between the tables. Usually we have multiple tables because if a database, So this is something which is not written over here. That might be asked in the exam as well. A database is basically, a single table database is basically like people arguing that a single table database should be called as database or not, because it's called a flat file database or a flat file generally. So technically speaking, a flat file database is the one that has just one table. And people argue that this should not be called as a database. But some people say that yes, a single table database, single table, if it contains only single table, still it should be called as a database. So there's a slight controversy in that one, but anyhow, it's not that one. So different versions of database systems. There are different database systems and there are different versions. PHP work with a variety of databases that include Oracle, Access, SQL Server, MySQL. In this course, we'll be discussing MySQL and manage using PHP MyAdmin. We'll see that how to maintain that, but we'll be talking about MySQL and will be managing using my PHP MyAdmin. Makes sense? For this course, we are discussing MySQL. We won't be working on Oracle. We won't be working on SQL Server. We won't be working on Access. Rather, we will be working with MySQL. But you know that these SQL families are same almost in Access also. Did you guys write queries in Access, or you just access the form, or you never got a chance to write the queries? Sunil, did you guys write some queries in Access as well by yourself, like writing select asterisk or select something from something, or you just use all those automated transcripts? Okay, no. Interestingly, Sunil, there are queries in Access as well, by the way. Don't worry. You have not seen that, but Access does also have queries. You might not have studied that, but there are also queries in Access as well. You can write the queries in Access as well. You know what I mean? So typically, anyhow, we'll just talk about MySQL in this course, and we will just work with MySQL and PHP MyAdmin. So database use a query language for its interaction between the user and the data. Most of the databases use some variation of SQL. Most of the databases where will use SQL, like, structured query language. They will use SQL, structured query language. What is structured query language? Structured query language is a standard, SQL. So remember, when we say SQL, it's not a proprietary or something. SQL is a structured query language that is used that uses queries to interact with database. Then comes its different versions. Microsoft have their own SQL Server that follows structured query language. MySQL is an open type of database available. It follows the SQL. So SQL is the standard language, and most of the languages, they are based on this SQL syntax, writing queries. There are other databases that use NoSQL as well. Now, can any one of you tell me what does this NoSQL means, or what is the acronym of this NoSQL? What is the acronym of this NoSQL? No. What is the acronym NoSQL? When I say NoSQL, is it literally it means no about NoSQL? What is that? I just want acronym. I know MongoDB is NoSQL database, but I'm just asking what is this NoSQL stands for? Like this word, non-relational. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? Please, without Googling that. I just want you to answer. What is this NoSQL stands for? Non-structural. Okay. Anyone else? Handling unstructured data. Okay, wonderful. I'm asking NoSQL stands for what? Non-tabular DB. Okay. Anyone else? I'm asking what is this short form? This NoSQL. Is it NoSQL literal sense, or what is that? Now, for your information, please remember, and you might find it out. It is called not only SQL. Not only SQL. It's not NoSQL means NoSQL will be involved. Can I have a thumbs up from those who are understanding? It's actually NoSQL, not only SQL. And it actually refers to the language. Of course, you are right. It refers to some of the different unstructured, like, collection of data and things like that. But again, it's called not only SQL. And just for creating interest. I want to. Yeah, it's Wikipedia. Wikipedia. I would not prefer Wikipedia. I'll just, would like to show that. Wikipedia is showing non-SQL, non-relational. Um, I hardly believe on Wikipedia. Let's see that. Okay, it's still saying that. So maybe I'm wrong. Let's see that. NoSQL databases. What are NoSQL databases by themselves? I want to. I'm just looking for the acronym because I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong, but let's see that. NoSQL database is a purpose-built for specific models and widely recognized for their ease of development. The page includes the wonderful and scalability, highly functional. Hmm. I would like to see that. Oh, Srinu has shared a link. Let me just, okay. Oh, see that, Srinu? Thank you. You solved my problem because I was pretty sure that I'm not wrong. So I was just like trying to, it's also known as not only SQL. Makes sense, everyone? So again, thank you, Srinu, for sharing that. I was unable to find that one. So in Mongo's documentation, it's mentioned over here. Not only SQL, right? So it's again, but if you see Wikipedia, you see Wikipedia is saying it. You usually see that it says that no non-SQL or non-relational, which I highly doubt is correct. I don't know, but we can just forget about that one. But anyhow, so it's not only SQL. Anyhow, it's not that of a debate, but so PHP script that sends SQL query to the database and the query results are script to the PHP script. PHP script sends it back to the server and server returns it to the client. Creating database tables. This is very interesting. How to create database tables in MySQL, as some of you and most of you have worked on that one. So let's look at that. Once database instance is created, need to create your tables. When database is created, we'll see that how to create the tables as well and how to do that. Once database instance is created, need to create your tables. Use SQL create table command. The command is SQL create table. And if you look at that, create table products, and then we just give the name of the fields, the fields and the data type that would be stored, name of the field and data type that will be stored. Make sense, everyone? And we'll see that how to do that. We'll just create that, some of them. So creating database tables, more options, and we can just say that, okay, table products, and it should be an unsigned integer. So it means that it has to be always positive. Not null means it should not be null. We can create product like, the fields like this. So we are defining extra features, extra properties. It should be auto incremented as well. It should be primary key as well. Look at that. So product ID has so many features over here. And we are talking about that it has to have these features. It is a positive number. It has to have not null. It will never be a null. It would be an auto increment. Every new row will get a value for itself. And the primary key, it will be the primary key as well. Then I'm saying, okay, product description is varchar, variable character length of 50 length, comma, cost integer, weight integer, num integer. So we can define like that, the fields of the tables, right? Fields of the tables. Next, insert the data. If you want to insert the data, what we do? We have, like, for example, I can write a query, $SQL, as we write in our PHP, and we say insert into table names of the column and then values followed by the values of the columns that we want to go. Right? So it will just come here and it will show us that we have got, like, that the values over there, and the values will be inserted on that. So we have, for example, SQL insert in table ABC values 1, 2, 3. And for example, another value insert into vendor name, address, one city, province, state, provincial, postal zip, country, phone, facts, and the values are coming. You see that coming from the variables. It might be in PHP. They might be coming from the variables. So database is accessing values from the PHP, like, the variables. So insert into product the values, and we can directly put in the values, the values that in the products, put in that values, 0, whatever, and then all those numbers which are given over here, right? So for example, consider an application that allows end user to enter inventory data. So now look at that. This is a PHP application that we are creating, and I'll show you all the examples and everything shortly. So item description, input type is equal to text, max length 20, name is equal to item. Name is very important. Do you guys remember name and difference between name and ID? Through name, it would be recognized on the other page when the data is received. So now look at that over here. Input type is text, size equal to that, name is equal to weight, name is equal to cost, name is equal to quantity. So why is that? It will be a form that comes up, and again, when this form is submitted, we'll be submitting it for the database. Now we'll try to make this application as well later on. Retrieving data, searching. So whenever we are retrieving data, two major ways to retrieve data: retrieving all elements from a table, searching for a specific records in a table. So we can have two ways of doing that. We might have retrieving all the elements. We might have searching for specific elements. To retrieve all data, use the following. Select asterisk. Asterisk means, asterisk means everything. Now, interestingly, this asterisk or this place actually refers to the columns. If I'm saying select asterisk from table name, I'm saying select everything, select all columns from the table name, whatever table. Make sense, everyone? Select all columns from the table. So I'm doing this all, right? Now, PHP and MySQL connecting to DB. How we will just connect to the DB? That's very interesting. That's a very interesting thing, because we will have MySQL and I want to create a connection of my database. So how to create a connection? We will have a server name, localhost. We'll be using localhost. Right now we are using localhost when we run our. If I show you XAMPP, I show you XAMPP here. So you all have that XAMPP installed into that one. If I just come here and I say start this Apache server, and remember I talked about Apache, start that MySQL as well. MySQL, and start both of them. I want to run that MySQL service as well over here. So now if you see that the server name that comes up is basically localhost. Remember, everyone? So this localhost, and now if I just come here, you see that it has got the PHP admin, my admin as well. Look at that. Let's go there. Why it is taking so long? Yeah, it is the PHP my admin page. We will be using this area to handle our all database related activities. But let's come back, and I would like to what I was showing. The server that we are accessing this all is basically localhost. Make sense, everyone? We'll be using localhost. Username, root, and password is none. By default, the default username for XAMPP setup is root, and the password is nothing, the default password. And DB name, the database is the one that we will create. So we might have this database that is created already. They might have created that database on one of the commands. I think they would have done. They just created directly the tables, but we will create a database for ourselves, right? So is that? Yes. So database is the name of the database. Now look at the connection. $DB is equal to new MySQL I. MySQL I is the latest form that we use. MySQL I, the server name, username, password, and DB name. Make sense, everyone? We will have that one over here, and we would like to access that one. Check for errors. If DB connect error, if there is a problem in the error, die, die, or maybe just go out of this one and say that connection failed. Give the message connection failed. and database. So maybe the database is not there or connection, the server is not available. There can be multiple reasons of doing that. Right? And let's complete that and then we'll see the example together. So now if you look at that one, use select SQL element with where clause. We can give where and condition. So here expression will come, a condition will come that will only filter out certain records on the basis of the condition. So it's very much likely that when you are accessing something from database, you want some typical records to come out. You don't want everything to come out whenever user enters something. You know what I mean? So if you are basically able to just give a condition, you will just bring out some of the records, not all the records. Make sense? So in the where we can write equal to, we can write greater than the values, less than equal to, greater than equal to. These are all the values that we might want to use. Right? Let's go. So database is example where clause, where product name is equal to something, and if we want to bring some product, specific products, it will just bring up that particular product from our database. So where product name is, so it will just bring all the columns of this product. Again, I told you, this is a bad idea to use asterisk. Those with the database experience can let me know why it is a bad idea to use asterisk. Why it is generally said that it's a bad idea to use asterisk with select in most situations, in most professional setups. We never used asterisk. And this is something that is not being mentioned in the slides. And this will be important for the exam purpose as well, So can anyone tell me why asterisk is a bad idea to use here? No. I'm talking about select asterisk. Why select asterisk is a bad idea? Check all means what? Can you explain that? I need everyone to answer, please. Overfetching. Shrinu, yes, overfetching, but why it is bad? I want all the fields. Why in the world you are worried about overfetching? Yes, you are right. Query might take a lot of, a bit of more time. But if I'm not worried about the timing, why overfetching you feel is bad? Anyone else? That's the point. Smith, thank you. Smith has given the point. Actually, in databases, you might have certain columns. You might have certain columns that you don't want to show to everyone. Yes, that is the point, Smith. Thank you. So actually, it's a bad habit. It's a bad idea to use asterisk with select because you don't want to display some of the private or highly confidential information to every user. I would need a thumbs up from everyone other than that. Tinu, thank you. So maybe a test or a thumbs up. Sunil, I can see your. Daniel, I can see your. Akhil, thank you. Prachi, thank you. Srinu. Okay, not anyone else. I've not seen anyone else. Trupti Ben, right. Smith, thank you. Smith, you already at Vinisha, thank you. Okay, Nisa and Nidhi, right. I've not seen, I think, Drashti or Trupti Ben has given. Sudhir, okay, wonderful. So now this is asterisk is not a good idea. So again, that might be. So they have just ended this this over here. Now let's go and try to make the same example and let's try to work with our databases. Let's go over here. So now let's first of all create a database from here. Let's create a database, new, create database. Now, please do with me. And we call it Conestoga. For example, we call it Conestoga. And again, since we are creating it from here, so I'll talk about that, how to create that by the code, but we are doing that right now from here. So I would, and by the way, if you want to write that directly SQL, you can open up this environment as well. Why not? Let's do that. Let's use that one. So create database, and I call it Conestoga. Create database Conestoga. Make sense, everyone? We write that command and let's say, for example, let's hit go. Empty set result 0 rows, and it says that there is something has happened. And on the left side, you can see that Conestoga is being, database is created, which is empty, of course, there is nothing. And I can create a table inside that one. Make sense, everyone? I hope you guys are doing it with me. Now, why not? Let's open up the slides and let's see that when they have created a table. So let's, for example, let's create this table. And I just I'll just copy this line then, and maybe Control C. And again, I'll go there. Sorry. I'll go there and I'll go in over here, right? Create table. And let's copy that one for us. And let's see if I can, oh, I can copy these three. Wonderful. Look at that. I want to create this table right now and make sure that database is basically Conestoga selected on the top and click on go. Now we have got a products table over here. Right? It has product ID, which is integer, unsigned, not null, auto increment, primary key. We have applied everything over here. The product description is varchar, cost is integer, weight is integer, and num is integer. All those things in there, right? We are just trying to follow the same thing. Now, when we have to insert something, let's insert that one, and we don't have an example over here, so we'll just, we will just insert something by ourselves. Let's copy this one from here. Insert into, or rather, let's write that by ourselves. So let's go to SQL, right? And I would just open that one because I want to see what columns it has. It has cost, num, product ID. Product ID will come by automatically. So let's write that insert into products, right? And now let's write the fields first of all, right? And the first field, product, leave out the product ID because we know that would be produced. So product description, comma, and what are the other fields? If I just look at that, let's go here. Product description, then cost, then weight, and then num, right? So then cost, weight, and num. And now values, what values we wanted to, for example, let's say shoes, and cost is, so for example, let's put that like this, 300. Oh, weight, interesting. Shoes might have some weight. Let's put some weight number, whatever. Very heavy shoes. Okay, and then number, let's take some 3 numbers, for example. Right, so I've just tried to return that. Let's see if it runs. One row inserted. It says that one row is inserted into that one. If I click on this products right now, and if you look at that, this is the query that is showing show asterisk from the products, and it does not show the row. Oh yeah, it shows that. Look at that. Product number, product ID is automatically generated. Shoes, cost, weight, and num. Make sense, everyone? If I go back to SQL and I'll just, I had this one. I can just use this one as well. Why not? Let's use this insert and insert some new things. For example, let's say whatever, perfume. And it's putting them in the single quotations. So I can just put them in single quotations. Let's put that. So let's say I have the cost is 100, weight is 50 ml, and because it has multiple values, I'll just take away this value 5, and let's say quantity 3, or number 3, right? Oh, have I completed that perfume description? Okay, we are not inserting the ID. ID will be generated by itself. Let's click on this one. Okay, there's something wrong. Column count does not match the value. Yes, of course, because product ID I'm not giving. I'll just leave that. And now run that one. Look at that. It has added 2 queries. And now if I do that, select the status, you see that I get both of the tables. Can I have a thumbs up for all those who see this now in their system, and especially those who are working for the first time? Those who have already worked, of course, they know that, and they can just handle that, all that. Right. So now you see that this query is executing, and we already see that. Now, if I go to my SQL and I just say select a static from products. If I just run this one, if I say go, look at that. It will show me all the products. If I just come here and that I want to write a particular condition where, for example, I say where product ID equals to 2. I just want that record that has product ID equal to 2. Why not if I click on this go? Look at that. I only get one value, one value. Make sense, everyone? Now let's come back to our program, our same application. And again, we will just work on that one. So remember, we have our folder on C drive, on htdocs, XAMPP, htdocs, section 4. I want to work in that one, right? I will have this file over there as well. So look at that. We have that index.php. Now let's create another file and let's call it data.php. Right? And data from MySQL, by the way. And why not? I create a complete HTML like previously. And now here, I would like to just connect it to my database. So let's go back over here and let's see how we will be connecting it. We'll just make a form as well. Right now, I'm just, I'll just bring the data and I'll try to just, first of all, connect, or maybe just show the data, or we will just, do that one. So let's come back over here and if I can copy this one completely. And I come back to my code and I write this code here. Now, so server, okay, why it is showing, it's showing everything else as a comment. So I'll have to just maybe, even though it should not be the case. And I'll show you what is happening, right? Actually, this one is a back, not that one. It should be like this. So I just copied that from there. So that's why it was just, now our database name is Conestoga. Conestoga, right? So we have server name localhost, and as we said that XAMPP has default setup of root and no password. So let's do that, because if connection will be died, of course, we'll get a message with the die. But if connection is successful, we might. So our file name is data.php. Let's go there and try to run that. Localhost / section 4 / data.php. I'm not getting anything. Are you understanding? That might mean that my code is successful. Why not? Let's make a intentional change in localhost. I made an error. So you see that warning, MySQLi constructor PHP network get address. It says line 16 uncaught MySQL exception network address, and it says that, of course, no such host is not found. Make sense, everyone? If I make host correct, localhost, and I make, for example, I make the database bad, like I change the name of the database. Let's look at the error now. If I refresh that, So it says unknown database Conestoga 1 in that, and I do not find that one. Does that make sense to everyone? Hopefully this is quite interesting. Now let's try to like imitate one of the application over here, which might be used to store the data into that one, and they have given the code. Why not let's use their code? So just let's come to the form. Why not let's do that. Okay, I create that form, and why not let's do that on the same page, because we can run that script on the same page. So I'll put a form element. Sorry. And inside form element, I'll just paste that. Right. So now if I just run that one. Okay, it has errors. So let's remove those errors because I want to make Conestoga. I don't want any error. You see that form has appeared again. It's looking very bad, but let's go with it. And again, we don't want to do that. So now, so when it action, because I want to send it to the same page, so I might not give an action, but I want to give a method. For example, let's give it a method of get. Why not? Let's give it a method of get. And it does not have a button of submit. So I'll say sub input type is equal to submit. Value is equal to show data, because I'm doing on the same page. So I want to show on the same page, right? Click refresh. I've got the show button, right? And again, it's very bad, and I can apply some CSS on that one. But let's do that again. Description something, weight something, cost something, and number of available something. I'll just first of all show you what will happening over here. So if I hit enter show, look at that. This item shows weight 100, cost 300, quantity. It just goes somewhere. Where it is going, of course, it's still remaining in the data.php. Are you getting that one? I need to catch them now. Now let's go here. And I need to catch them and then save them in the database. I want to save them in the database. If I'll come over here, right? So let's go back to our slides and look at that. How do they have done that? So we have got the connection, and this is the sort. And let's create a SQL over here, right? Insert into, and we'll just create a SQL over here. Let's go back here, and let's create a $SQL is equal to insert into products. And by the way, there is another syntax. If I show you, so they are just using that over here. Insert into table. So first of all, the table name comes, and then the key or the fields come. But we can leave out the fields as well. You know what I mean? We can directly say that values. Insert into products. Values, and I can just directly put the values over here. Now, what are the values that we want to? So, we will be just submitting that form, and we will be receiving that. We will be receiving that form's data over here. So now those who know about that one, how I can get reference to these values that are there. I would like someone else to just jump up again. Those who have worked in that one. I have the same page. I want to get those values, and I want to just, put those values over here. Do you guys remember? Someone remembers in MySQL how you guys used to do that? How can I get those values over here? And I can just work with those values. So by the values, I mean all those values which are over here being referenced with the name. Yes. So who will just let me know? How can I get reference to those values? So for example, if I just write down over here, I write something by myself, perfume, and I say, for example, 10, 20, 30. I think there are 4 values that it requires. I'm just doing a bad thing. It should not be double quotations, rather it can be single quotations over here, because this inverted commas will be closed by this one. Now, of course, right now what I'm doing, I'm just sending some hard-coded values over here. Do you guys understand that one? Now, who will come up with the solution? First of all, how would I capture the values from the form? I need someone to just answer that one. How would I capture the values of the form? Yes. We'll talk about how to execute the query later on, but first of all, I'm just talking about how would we able to just read the values over there. I'm waiting for someone because I know that there are lots of people who are already very good with that one. Yeah. Who is that? Oh, what's that? Yeah. I'm waiting for someone. Please come up. You understand the purpose? I need to read all these values and I need to plug them in over here. How would I do that? Reading and plugging in over here in my values. That is the $1 million question right now. And I need someone to write the code for that one. Is anyone even trying? Okay, Tino, you don't have. Anyone having a prior experience? Thank you, Tino. And Tino, that is wonderful answer because it's the answer that I want, because I would like to just know about that. How would you do that? Wonderful. And anyone else, if you don't know, you can just write, like Tino has mentioned, that no idea, and that really is a very valid answer. I would be happy to get that answer. No problems. Okay, Nisar says no idea. Okay, but I remember a lot of people said that they have got the values and everything. They have just learned that before. Anyhow, let's say, first of all, I would like to tell you, if I want to insert and add like different values, how would I do that? Let's first of all look at that. I need to call this query and run this query. So what we do generally about this one is that the connection, like we sometimes with that connection variable that we have created by using this MySQL, I would write that connection name DB, right? And since we are working in MySQL, I would write run the query $SQL equals true if that query executes successfully. Make sense, everyone? Now let's first of all echo it down. New record is created there in the database in DB. Else echo the error. And what is the error? Of course, let's concatenate that. Remember concatenation operator, SQL, and let's concatenate a BR with that one. And let's concatenate the error. DB, the error has appeared. Whatever error is appeared, you can just mention that one. And one thing that I have not mentioned, we always close the connection when we are done. DB close. Make sense, everyone? Now, I'm right now inserting normal values over here. I have not talked about how to read the form data and then insert that into that one, right? I'm just talking about normal data over here. Now let's do that. And let's do that over here. Run that one. Where is that? It's here. Where is our file running? Let me just see that one. This is my file running. Now, since this is basically now, if you look at that one, it should automatically will run. And if I just come and click on that one, It says syntax error, unexpected token dot in line number 44. What is the unexpected token? Or it's not recognizing the dot. It should recognize the plus then. Let's see if it is not recognizing the dot. Line number 47 as well. It says colon. Oh, yeah. Right. My bad. Okay. So it says that column count does not, because it's basic column count does not match. So it means we are making less values. Let's look at that. How many values it is looking for? Let's do that. It's product description 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 values. Let me see if I have entered the 4 values. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have the 4 values. Why it is not matching? Okay, let me just see that. Yeah, do you see that? What is the problem? Anyone? Let me just see that. Yeah, the one ID should be auto incremented, right? I'm not giving the ID. I have to give these 3 values. So, okay. Okay, maybe it's the syntax problem. I'm just making a syntax problem over here. And let's see what syntax problem it is creating. Hmm. If I put all of them in single quotations, let's see that. Maybe syntactically it is looking for that. Let's see that. If I hit refresh. Okay. Exception column does not match the count at row 1. 41. Okay, let me just see that. One is automatically incrementing. It should not be there. So on line number 41, it says that it's basically not running that one. Oh, but that's for JavaScript. That should not be a problem. Let's look at that. Anyone can find that what's going on here? Let's see. When query is executing, it does not matches that one. Let's see that. Product description, cost, weight, and number. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The values are 3 here. Then what is the problem? Okay, why not? Let's write the table value, not a product's values. You're talking about so product spelling should be in a small. I'll try that one, maybe. Yeah, I know. I can understand what you're saying. Let's try that, but I don't think that should be a problem because insert into. No, that's not a problem. Let me write the fields as well. Let's write the fields. Product underscore DESC, comma, what is the field name? Cost, comma, weight, comma, num. Right. Here comes an interesting part. Why the weight is coming in blue color and rest of all in yellow color. Let's see that. Oh, so there is, like, again, it's just, asking for which fields you are inserting to, right? Okay. So maybe, yes, you might be right as well. I'll check that one with this one, for example. I'll, for example, check with this one. If I click, is that new record is created. Now let's come back over here and let's try to see if I want to see all the records. I want to see all the records. How many records are there? So let's go there and run a code. So you look at that perfume 10. So you see that was not a problem. Sunil, you understand that one? It was not a problem. The problem was somewhere else. Anyhow, so it has just taken the values and produced that in the database. So we have right now it is just taking what I have just mentioned over here. Again, I can insert something else. I will just come here and I will say, for example, who knows, clothes, something. And let's say that some value, some change values, 230 and maybe 20 something. Let's save that. And if I hit refresh, a new record is created. But like according to this one, if I run that command again, if I run that command again, let's say what will be the output. Look at that. The output is clothes is also added over there. So now we are stopping here. And again, I'll be still looking for if someone is coming up with a solution that if I want to insert these records, like, these values, because I want to take these values from there and I click on show. So when I show or, insert, rather than show, it should be insert. Let's make it insert because, not show, or send to database, send to DB, something like that. So we will have this one send to DB and I enter some description over here and I enter some weight, something, whatever, something, and I send to DB, and that record, the record that is over there should come over there and it should be saved in the database. Make sense, everyone? I will be looking for that again. I will be still looking for that solution. And if you look at that, we have got this database over here, which is now working fine. Everyone is good till this point? We'll do a little 10 to 15 minutes break and then we'll be back. Everyone is good? Okay, Tino, thank you. I do see Tino, only you are responding to this question. So let's take a 10 to 15 minutes break and I will be back with some fun stuff, right? So let's I'm not stopping recording because it's again I know that the break is also recorded, but otherwise it divides it into the parts. So I don't want that. There is no option. It's very bad of Teams because Zoom does have that option of pause recording, but I don't see this option in Zoom. It does not pause the recording. It just directly goes to stop recording. And that is really bad of it. So that's why I'm not stopping recording. So see you in 15 minutes and thank you very much.
Oh, our Tamil name remake.
All right, so I'm back. Hopefully you guys are also back. Just give us chat message here when you are again back. Tino, I can see your thumbs up. All right, wonderful. Okay, so let me share my screen. There are lots of people who are here already. That's great to see. All right, so we have been just doing that one. So again, I was expecting that someone will come up, but anyhow, no problem. I don't see anyone coming up. Now let's see how we will be accessing that in the PHP. So let's talk about that one. So in PHP, actually, there comes the part of this form action method, form method. So there are two things. There are two methods in PHP that we use to read the data which is sent through form, sent from a form. And those two methods are, I would write that as a comment. Maybe I should write them on the comment at the bottom. Let's write that one. So look at that. We have two methods, $_get and $_post with the square brackets and the field name. Make sense? When the data is sent through get method, we use $_get with the field name to read that data and $_post for the field name with the field name to read the data. Now let's come back over here. So I know that when this form will be submitted, there are different fields that come up. There's a field name that comes up, weight, cost, and quantity, and so item, the description comes in item, right? Item, weight, cost, quantity. Now look at that. In my PHP, before running this SQL, I might want to do that. For example, I say my own variable, I create my own variable, and I say, for example, $text is equal to, now, $_get square brackets, and now the name of the field. What is the name of the field over here? Item. So I will use item over here. Are you guys getting that one? First field, I've stored that one. Now, in the same way, I have the second field, weight, and the name is weight. So let's copy and paste that. And I'll create my own PHP variables over here. Go and read from the weight and make a variable weight for my PHP. Now, what is the third field? Look at the third field. Third field is cost with capital C. So I'll make my own and get cost. And then num is also coming from there, $_get, and num should be the name. Num, look at that. No, I have said I've like call it quantity, right? Quantity. I'll just come here. The num is quantity. Make sense, everyone? We have read all these items. After reading these items, now I don't want to insert the values over here that I have just mentioned. I actually want to insert these values that have been read from here. So now I'll come here and I would try to include here the variables. Now look at that. How to do that? So I'll close this inverted commas and maybe I write the plus and then I write $text here. And then I put a plus and then put a comma over here. Are you guys getting that one? So it will insert this text over here. Now, this looks a very cumbersome, very peculiar type of syntax, but right now I'm using that, for no reason I'm using that. But let's see that what I'll do after that. I'll come over here. I'll put inverted commas, a plus, inverted commas. No, not inverted commas, plus, and then okay. You see, I'll just make a mess of it. Let's do that. Let's do that from again. So we have got this one single quotation, and then after that single quotation, I would close that and I would put a plus, and then I'll put a single quotation. Again, it would be a hell difficult job over here, but let's do that and we'll find out if we are making any mistake. So let's put now I'll put dollar weight here. And after that, I'll put this one and then inverted commas and then comma. And then again, I'll just come over here and I'll put inverted commas plus. This is a very tedious job, by the way, but again, I'm doing that right now. Inverted commas start, inverted commas close over here, and then plus dollar num. I just call it num over here, no problems. And I connect it with inverted commas and something like this. Let's hope that I got it right because I don't know if it will be right or not. But anyhow, it's actually they will read the data from there. And after reading, I'm trying to insert that into over here. Now let's come back over here in the form and let's try description. So again, I say something. Weight 122, cost 222, number available 123, and send to DB. Let's create that one. Okay, unsupported operand type string plus string in CMap. So again, look at that. I might have made a mistake over here, and I'll try to correct that one. This window pops up and this really disturbs. Okay, now come back over here. Single quotation, and then I have just closed that one. Do we have a backticks over here? we will have, in that string literal syntax in PHP. That might be, string literal syntax. There should be something with it related to string, but let's talk about that one. Okay, I can directly embed that one. Why not? Why not directly embed then? So I will directly say that because, PHP has this tendency of that one. So let's say text single quotation, comma, dollar weight. I think it might work here. Let's see that. In some languages does not. And dollar cost and dollar num. Right. So let's do that. Unexpected token new in our data.php. New. Oh, where's that? Line number 48. Okay. It's not accepting that one. Let me just see that. Echo has disturbed. And the reason is I have to close this one over here. I've not closed that one. That is a problem. Okay, ABC 123 123 send to DB. Let's see. I have just made an ABC 123 123. Let's run that one. Select statics from products, and let's select everything from the products. Go. And look at that. ABC 123 123. That record has been created, and it was creating the previous records as well. But there was something something wrong over there. But it's just now creating over there. Does that make sense to everyone? So we have created a useful thing, this useful type of thing. Let's add something meaningful. For example, we would say, what? Something like that. Cements weight is something like 100. Cost is 200. Number available is 12. Send to DB and now check with the DB. And I would like to run that one. Let's run that and see. The cement is basically over here, and now we have got it. It's just multiply. How it is creating multiple copies because I'm just running on a particular a bad place. And yeah, so you guys see that it is just now creating a new record over here when SQL gets executed. It's basically whenever we send that one, it just comes over here and runs that. Are you guys getting that one? Hopefully you understand this all. And as I said, as I told you that we can apply lots of operations, all of those things that we know, we can just apply them and they will be just working over here. And now it is just bringing up those fields and bringing without that fields are coming up over here. And after fields, it is just making that one. So if you want to make validations over there, validations can be user it can be client side validations, it can be server side validations, and you can always do those validations maybe in your form, because we have got certain things that we just do that, or maybe we can do that on the PHP, because PHP at times will be used to just do that validations over there. So you can use any one of them to have that variables and that values and how to read that. And I told you that these values are coming up through that through the URL. And if I just make a refresh over here, it just creates this record again, get again, and now these values are coming through that one. So if I just come over here and I make it, remember, if I make it this method is equal to post. If I make method is equal to post and I come over here, I refresh that. And if I just refresh that, and if I just go directly to the page without any values, if I go, so data.php, of course, it's that undefined item because, it's not getting that item over there. So let's put the item and you send it to DB. Let's do that. And if it has to have, let's see that if it is going over there in our database. Look at that. We have got some of the values ABC, and then we are getting the 0 because again, as I said, we are not running at the proper place. You might want to run at the proper place. Oh, 0 0 0. And why are we getting 0 0 0? I forgot. Because now we are sending through post method. Remember. So if you are sending through post method, they won't be read through the get method. They will be read through the post method. Look at that. Post, and post. Now they will be running through the post method. And now if I just refresh that, now if you see, I send A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, whatever, just to recognize that, and say 2 2 2 2 1 1 1 1 and 3 3 3 3, just to send that one, send to DB. And now if I just come here, I would have all those records over here, because now this will be not zeros, that will be proper records. Look at that. Now this has come over here. So did you guys understand this concept of underscore get and underscore post? Can I have a thumbs up from everyone? The concept of this post and get. If the data is sent through get method, it would be basically a get method, and if it is sent through the post method, it should be received by using the post method. Right. So now let's come back to our lecture file, and let's look at that. What else they want us to learn? So we have talked about this database. We have just seen that database, how to work that, how to create database, how to connect to the database. And we have just run, and this is basically running that one. Now let's go back and see what else is there on our week 11, which is typically the state management. Now let's look at that. Lesson 9, state management. This is very interesting and this is very cool because now we'll be talking about some access authorization, state management. Today's discussion, we'll talk about state management. State can be managed on server side. State can be managed on the client side. Both sides can manage the state. Popular approaches within PHP are hidden forms, query strings, cookies, and sessions. To maintain the state, we use these four, and these two are the most popular one. Again, hidden forms and query strings we used in certain situations, but mostly the most professional way of maintaining them is cookies and sessions. What is state management? It's actually user authentication management and user preferences management. So it's basically when we want to maintain a user authentication. A user comes on your website and you want to recognize that whether user is a proper or legitimate user. What are the areas that you will allow user to go in? So you make authentication authorization. You use preferences. Sometimes you will set up some of the, my inbox should look like red color. My Gmail box should be of blue color or green color, whatever. You know what I mean? So site history will maintain the site history related to site management. Authorization and status information, as I told you, authorization, who is authorized to do that. Trust delegation, we'll talk about the trust as well. What is state management? Allows a web server to recognize you upon viewing the web page, logging in. You know, once you log into your Facebook, you are on every page, or maybe on any, for example, you are doing shopping on the Walmart and you log in once. Now it will recognize you for that session. Wherever you go, it will recognize you for that session. And that is basically the state management on that part, right? There are two ways to perform state management: client side, server side. This is very interesting. Now, server side. Server-side state management application state management allows information to be available to all users of a web application. Good for when you want to store infrequently changed global information that can be used by many users. Appropriate when security is not an issue. Appropriate for small amounts of data. For example, page counts. For example, if I talk about its server side is sessions actually. So when user comes to your website and they want to purchase something, that is an information that you want to keep with the user. You create a basket for them. Remember everyone? So you create a checkout basket and you want to keep that checkout basket with the user unless that user is on your website. So for that reason, we use sessions for server side management. A series of transactions between a user and an application. What is session state management? The short-term memory that an application requires in order to maintain the session. Information is only available to the user within the specific session. Used when security is a concern. We don't want to share this session information. When hosting many users, session state can occupy significant resources, user ID, login, shopping cart, etc. A lot of people might come to your website and they can maintain multiple sessions on your web page, right? And that is typically what? That is typically, the idea that we talk about. That, for example, if a user, if there are lots of user coming, the server is maintaining their state and server will get loaded. Anyhow, we'll talk about that one. Database support in server state management can be used to maintain state on a website. Database appropriate when storing large amounts of data, like Facebook. We have got loads of data being coming from all the users. You need to have a database support to have that. Appropriate when you must manage transactions. Appropriate when information must survive application and session restarts. Data mining is a concern. All these issues, you need to have a database support. And that database, you will be maintaining your servers, state management, state into the database as well. Now comes the client side, cookies. So remember this, when you say client side management, you are talking about cookies. When you say server side management, you are talking about the sessions, right? So what are cookies? Text file that store information to maintain state. A small file stored by the client at the instruction of the server, appropriate when security is not an issue. Do not use to store user credentials. Simple personalization settings. We can store display size. You see customizations. We generally will use customizations to do that. We never will use the cookie to store credential information. Because cookies, someone can, maybe just get access to the cookies and will get that private information. Right? So client side view state property retains values between multiple requests of the same web page. Appropriate when you need to store small amounts of information for a page that will post back to itself. More useful for an intranet than internet, for an internal network than internet. For example, number of clicks of a button in an ASP.NET form. You want to calculate how many times the button has been calculated, put that in a state, right? There is a query string method also for the client side management. Appends information to the end of URL. Remember, it was appending information over here when we had used the get method, right? Appropriate when transferring small amounts of information. Security must not be an issue. Fully viewable. Can only be used when requesting a web page. Allow users to bookmark page or processes and return to it later. Users can change. Dangerous to put. So again, query string is basically, it can do a lots of wonderful things. And if you remember on the first, maybe on the first lecture, if you have seen then the recording that I shared in the very first weeks, I have shown some query strings in action. So query strings are also important. In PHP 4 main state management, we have talked about hidden forms, query string, cookies, and sessions. Hidden forms. As I said, we use them, but not that much. Create hidden form fields input. They allow us to store temporarily information that needs to be sent to the server that a user does not need to see. Calculation results and etc. You just put that in the hidden and send that. Right? Query string name value pair. We add with the URL, and after the question mark, we just paid that name is equal to value, name is equal to value. And we have that, you can just, read like that. You see? It shows me account page, F name Peter, L name Parker, whatever. It just shows all those things. Now here comes something that I will show you the examples of. Cookies. Query strings do not permanently maintain state information. After a web page that has read a query string is closed, the query string is lost. Cookies were created to store state information beyond a web page. This is very important theoretical aspect. And you might get a question in exams, why query strings are not useful. So you will say that they do not permanently store storage information. So we use cookies for that one. Small piece of information about a user that are stored by a web server in text file on a client server. There are temporary cookies, there are persistent cookies. Temporary cookies remain only available for the current browser session. Persistent cookies remain available for some particular time. And we'll see both of them. Browser are made to support at least 300 cookies total, at least 20 cookies per unique host or domain name. Cookie size should be limited to 4 KB. This is not the case anymore. Now it supports more than that. But again, in the classical sense, it says that we have got the cookies have to be less than 4 KB, which is a very small size. So now they are MBs also. Each browser has its only limits and size limitations. Now here comes the result. How do we do that? How do we just we use the cookies, right? How do we use the cookies? Let's do that. Okay, set cookie is the function that typically does what? That actually sets up the cookie for us. And that's a very interesting thing. Set cookie. We will be using the set cookie function that will have name, value, expired path, domain, secure, HTTP only. There are lots of options, but we only name is the required one. Rest are optional and most have default values. So we'll be only using maybe name, or maybe we'll be using some of the values. Name required specifies the name of the cookie, what type of information the cookie contains. Value is optional, specifies the value of the cookie, right? And then expire, if you want to put a timer with that one. There should be a default timer as well. After 30 days, it might expire by default, or maybe you set up something, but this one will be taking 30 days to just, to do that, right? Path optional, specify the server path where I want to store that cookies. specifies the server path of the cookie, where I want to typically, but it says server path. So actually we are talking about that would be stored in the user, which path they are storing that. Determines the availability of a cookie of the web page on a server, allows cookies to be shared across the server. Cookies will be doing all those things. Is entire domain path cookie is available in the path directory, available to all web pages or default value. Domain optional, used for sharing cookies across multiple servers in the same domain. Website.com, sub website.com, sub 2. It should be available to all that. Secure is optional, indicate that a cookie may only be sent over HTTPS connection. It is not sent over there with that one. Now let's see an example. So they have just set up this set cookie example from there. Let's run that. Let's write that example and let me create a new file for that. Let's create a new file here. And I call it cookie.php. We'll be just trying to create the cookie over here, right? Let's create the HTML first, the boilerplate HTML. And now let's write the PHP over here. So let's write PHP. Let's define a cookie name. Right. So let's say we are calling that user. Cookie underscore value. Let's say Alan Smith. And now the function set cookie. It's not in the camel case form. So I'll pass cookie name and cookie value. And also I want to set up a time. So I'll say grab the current time and add again 86400 into 30. So again 30 days. Right. And also let's define a path as well. Take it on the route. And by the way, let's make that question mark. And by the way, this code should come even before HTML, the PHP code. I would write that even before the document, because we need to set up in the very beginning, even before the document is being completed. Make sense, everyone? So we have set up a cookie. Now in the body, I would like to access that one, if the cookie is set or not. So in PHP, I'll write if there is a method called isSet. If not, isSet $_cookie. Now here is the variable that would be used to access that one. And we have the cookie name over here. I'll just pass that because it would be setting up like this. If not is set, if the cookie is not set, echo cookie named plus dollar cookie name plus is not set. Right? It is not set. Or else what it does, echo cookie plus dollar cookie name plus is set. Let's put a BR here, line break, and echo value is plus dollar. Now to get the value, I'll have to go into the $_cookie and write the cookie name. Cookie name. Now let's close that PHP script. So we have just set that up. Let's write that here. Now let's run this one. Okay, let's come here and let's run this one. So I'll just come here and I'll say cookie.php and supported string plus string. Again, I'm just still making that same mistake. I keep on doing that. Okay. It's not accepting that. And again, as I said, I'm just making that same foolish mistake over and over. Why not? Let's put that inside this one. Right. So $cookie is not set, and same is over here. If I take away this, and if I take away this plus cookie name is set, value is, let's take it away. Right. And I'll just come here and I'll put the inverted commas over here. Hopefully that should work. So cookie user is set and value is Alan Smith. And this is our setting up cookie. So it has already got our cookie being set up. Make sense? So it is creating the cookies. If I just go there and I want to see the cookies, let's go in that over here. Let's go to our application and see that cookies. Let's come to the cookies. If I open that up, look at that. I have got a cookie called user. Space value is Alan Smith, and you see that whenever there is a space, and look at the expiry. Showing that. So its expiry is 19th April. So you see that it's almost for a month because I have just set up that value. Make sense, everyone? This is setting up the cookies, and the cookies is basically there. Right. So let's go back to our lesson. So this is the example that we have seen. Sessions. Sessions are another very interesting thing. And we'll see some session. Session in terms of PHP refers to the period of activity when a PHP script stores state information on a web server. It would be something that is stored on the web server. Right now, the cookie that we are creating, it is stored on the client. Remember. And the session will be stored on the server. Take place server side. Sessions can maintain state information even when the client disable cookies. If the cookies are disabled, session keep, because sessions are not stored on the cookies, on the client's machine. Rather, they are basically stored on the server. So to start a session, we do that PHP_start session. And then what you do is that generates a unique session identity. Session ID text files are stored on a web server directory. The session start function must be very first thing in your document. Remember that even before that session_start should come, right? So that is there. But of course, session, we know that it would be just available even before that one. So now let's come back here and let's create a program here. And I create a file called session.php, right? And let's write that. So best things first, we need to start the session. And to start the session, we get session_start. So again, even my HTML will come after that. Make sense, everyone? The HTML should come after that. Whatever you are putting that, it should be after that one. Now, inside the body, I'll just come here and I'll say setting and getting sessions. And now let's set up the session. So PHP code, and let's set the session variable. Now, $_session is the method to use, right? And let's say, for example, background color. Someone wants to set background color equal to red. $_session. And maybe, let's say for color equal to green. Right. And now echo session variables now available. Right. Session variables are now available. They should be available and we can access them. We can play with them and we can just, access them. Getting them, we can get that one. But right now, let's first of all run that one, and it sets up a session variable, particularly for our that one. So let's come back over here and let's run our file. Okay. Unexpected token echo on line 19. It does not recognize echo. Why? Did I put echo with, oh, I did not close that one, right? Okay, unexpected token echo. Terminator is missing. Again, like see, setting value and getting the session variables are now available. If I want to display them, let's go back here and let's create another PHP tag and let's echo them. Echo my preferred background color is let's say I would bring that $_ session back color. Right. And let's say my preferred foreground color is color. Let's see that. Oh, I did not close the PHP again. Okay, expecting dash identifier line 23. On line 23, it is requiring okay, or identifier number, expecting content. Okay, there might be something I have just missed out, maybe. Do you see anything missed out? Echo session back color and the color. Let's do that. Line number 23. Background color is this $_ session. And maybe it's not recognizing this with a single quotation. Expecting dash or identifier or variable or number. Unexpected string content. Oh, there's a space coming up there. Where's the space? Do you guys see any problem here? I don't. Maybe I'm not able to find. Spelling is correct. Underscore is correct. Does anyone see anything wrong here? I just keep on getting this. Why in the plus I'm getting error. Let me just check that one. I keep on getting the error for that as well. Why? The reason. Session variables are now available, uncaught string and string. And again, you see that it just gives me, even though it's a concatenation operator, and that's wonderful. Why in the world it is not showing that? It's not even supporting the dot, because dot is in PHP, usually this dot is used as a concatenation operator. Even it's not recognizing my dot. Oh, it's recognizing the dot. Wonderful. It's getting the dot now. Okay, so my preferred background color is red, and my preferred background color is, and now I would like to have a BR over here, and I would like to have a BR over here as well, because it does not looking pretty. If I refresh that, now it says my background color is red. Now, what actually we do, we will be using the database. Database will have users and IDs, and we'll bring that, and we'll just set up some session variables, and we'll recognize those session variables on ultimately the other pages. And that's what we have to actually do. So let's look at that one. So we start the session, and there is a key that is generated for session. So that key is the session key that is recognized. When a session open a different page with the same browser session, the web server scans the client computer for a user key. So it looks for the user key. If that is available, it will done. If match is found, the session is accessed. If no match is found, a new session is started. So it will just start that. And there is a W3 schools example over there. Now, what you guys have to do, a little task that you have to do maybe for today. And I would maybe want you to just go ahead. So you would like to just maybe create an application where you just set up a session by database, as we have seen some database files as well over here. Look at that, we have got some database files over here, data.php, where we have got the. So try to set up a session with the username maybe, or something. Come up with a little what do you call it, an innovative type of application, right? So we are stopping here. We have just done that one, and we have seen both of them over here. I would like you guys to just have a look at that one. And as I said, it's 3 p.m. I'll just maybe start the quiz at 3:30, and it will be available for 1 hour. So it will be start at 3:30. We are done with this lecture. If you have any questions, you can just go in and ask. And if not, we are just good to go. We have got this database which is running over here, and we have seen these all over here. Any questions? Any questions from anyone? Yeah, why not? Why not? I'll send that code. And you know how I will send that code, first of all? Yeah. So what I'll do is that I will copy these files. These are all files, right? And I'll copy them, and I'll paste them on my folder where we are working. You'll get that code. Week 10. And I'm just pasting that in week 10, right? Or should I create a new? I think let's create a new folder, week 11, because that would be good. Week 11. And in this week 11, I paste these files. Got it? And now it will be available when I make a commit. Let's make a commit over there. Let's open a folder, that same folder that we work on. And our folder is here. Winter 2024. I just go there. Right. And I have just copied these files over here, cookie.php and everything for you. And what I'll do is that let's make a little change over here. I'll just remove something. I hit save. Okay, cannot validate. I don't want you to validate. And now you see that. Tino, I hope you know that, but I'm just now making a commit. Tino, can you check that if you find that all code in your folder? And this is for those also who are maybe looking at the recording later on or before, that all the code is available in that section, and you can always go there and access that one. Okay, so anything else? Yes, it's there, Tino, on the GitHub. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so yes, it's 3:06, and that, as I said, that quiz, the quiz 2 will be available at 3:30, and it will be open till 4:30. So try to solve that. I'll not be available. Just I don't expect any questions. I would be happy. Just make your own assumptions and try to solve the questions. Please be mindful that there should be no copying from someone else. Otherwise, you will face the consequences. Last time, of course, it was not that much. So quiz will be open at 3:30, and it will be available till 4:30. You can send me a chat message on my on my Teams. But again, I would be expecting a question. If you have something that you feel that it's not good or looking something, I'll be able to reply that one, right? Okay, thank you very much. And can everyone write a thanks message? This might be count as the attendance for the class today as well. Just write a chat message, and thank you very much. Enjoy your day, and